What is White House? They are not the White House of old necessarily. They're still very good. They're really good. But we're not chasing Pat Mahomes back there and trying to, it's not going to be a mobile quarterback we're having to chase around that's 230 pounds, pushing people aside and all that and then chunking up. And they still got very good receivers. They got one that's extremely fast, plays the slot position for us. And so we got to really lock in and key on him. But it's not the mobile guy. He'd rather stay in the pocket, quick passing game, get rid of the football right now. They're 50-50 run pass, so they're trying to be more balanced. Now, some of that balance may be they're ahead in ball games. So some of those numbers get skewed and you start going 50-50. Are they really? When they heat of the battle the first three quarters, what are they? But overall, they're 50-50 in the run pass. Got a very good running back in the Dunning kid, who is, I believe, a brother to the other Dunning. That's a safety that's going A&M. So good players. So just to give you the overall breakdown of White House, offensive line is good. I mean, they're good. They can move. They zone. The same kind of blocking schemes we've got. So, yes, it's a mirror looking at that. They do a good job. Quarterback's very accurate, gets rid of the football. Positive. He's not a real mobile kid. So he'll be sitting in one spot so we know where to go get him. And then the running back is good. He's a physical kid, but he doesn't really necessarily he'd rather play finesse and run around you than he would run over you. So we need to understand that going into the ball game. Receivers, very good route runners. Again, number 15, he's got some speed. I mean, the kid can really run and get after it. And another one's really good for him is number 4. He's a really good player too. I don't know all these names, but I can tell you some numbers. But they do a good job of those guys in distributing the ball and getting it to them. People have backed off of them. I guess they're afraid of the deep ball. Maybe the tradition of playing those guys and then throwing the deep ball. Not necessarily a big deep ball team. They're going to take a few shots, but they're not really just going to try to cram it down your throat and throwing the deep one, which they've done in the past. And so people have been backed off of them, not been up on them. Throw a ton of screens, a lot of jailbreak screens, doing those things. Again, I think people are backed off of them. That allows them to do that. People really hadn't tried to heat them up yet either. They really hadn't tried to bring it with them. So, all that being said, they're good offensively. They went and played for the state 7-on-7 championship, and I'll be honest, I saw them in the Gilmer. I thought, ooh, they got some growing to do, but they really grew over the summer. They ended up in July there and went down to College Station and played for the thing. And so they're talented. They know what they're doing. They got big bodies. They're long, and then do a really good job. On the other side of the ball, defensive line is really aggressive. They come off the ball. Not super athletic, but they're really aggressive. They rotate opposite of what we saw against Rockwall Heath. They're rotating tons of kids in all the time, and they're bringing it. Okay? And so they do a good job of that. Defensive line aggressive, moving around, different fronts, base out of an odd, but we're going to see odd, even, 3-3 stack. They're going to do all kinds. What we call a 33 nose look, drop a linebacker down in there, and some of old coach's old stuff he used to do out of the split look stuff, and drop those kids down. They're going to just try to make it hard for you and try to confuse your kids up front and doing all that. And that's a positive thing about having a senior line too. Hopefully we can communicate and do that. And going back to them, they also have a senior line. I hadn't seen so many senior lines ever since I coached. Rockwall Heath all seniors, we're all seniors, they're all seniors. So there's a lot to that. So those kids understand what they're doing.
So they bring the heat on defense.
Well, they pressure, just getting off the ball, just being aggressive. Now, they don't necessarily heat you up, but they will. They'll move these outside linebackers. They haven't brought the inside a bunch, but they have brought the outside guys. So they're going to play on the line of scrimmage as much as you will let them. So our job is to kind of loosen them up a little bit, and they know we're heavy run, and so we got to try to loosen them up and get over the top with CJ and get some stuff outside and make them have to loosen up so we can run inside on them a little bit. Now, the back end of these guys, really good. Again, I told you I didn't think I'd see a better secondary than Heath. These guys are good. It's a different kind of good. Heath is physical. They knew what they were doing. They played well. They just broke physical. White House is really good, but they're not soft. They just play a different technique. They're kind of more of a loose, but they're the best at breaking on balls. They're better than that than Heath is. They have a great savvy. They may try to bait you more, and they're long and they're fast, and so they try to bait you just a little bit more and then go after you. The Dunning kid's going to he's going to Texas A&M, and another kid The other kid they have at safety, I'm trying to remember where he's going now. He's also going to another school. So they got another, I think he's another D1 kid. So they got 2 D1 safeties, a lot like we also talked about and we talked about with Heath. So very similar in all that. So their back end is really good. And so they do a good job again of flying around, recognizing stuff. They're the best I've seen at trading coverages and understand. They don't have a whole lot of blown stuff. You're not going to blow their mind. They have a really good savvy about that, and that's probably why they ended up playing in the 707 championship, because that big deal is getting stops. You got to score, but if you've got a secondary that understands that you can cover, and again, they're super long. I mean, some long-armed kids that can really run and know how to get their hands on balls. So a lot of savvy as far as that goes. Our offensive line is going to control the line of scrimmage. I think the ball game is going to be won on the line of scrimmage, period. Now that's a cliche in a lot of areas, but this is really true here. If we can control their front up and we can run the football on them, all right, we're going to have a good night. On the other side of the ball, it's going to take 7 guys to cover their guys. So our front 4 have to get pressure. That's the key. That's the bottom line. Now, our defensive line has played extremely well the first 2 weeks. We're undersized, but we've held up against big guys, against Heath, which is a very good offensive line. But that's the whole deal. To me, and that's what I told the kids, it's O-line, D-line stuff. Skilled kids are skilled kids. Yes, we got to make plays. We got to do this. We got to do that. But the bottom line this week especially, that's the key. Because if we can control them and keep them from blitzing us and messing up on all these different defensive fronts and run the football, and then take our shots when we need to take them, that's the key to the ball game. So there's the skinny, there's the cheese, whatever you want to call it. So if anybody really knows what they're doing, they can watch that and see how that comes out, and that should be the end of the score. But and it goes back to take care of the football, don't turn it over, all those things.